You're here and I'm queer and welcome back to my channel. For this video, I will finally be making Miss Bellum from the PowerPuff Girls. In collaboration with Moonlight Jewels, we are going to bring you two iconic redheads from the series. They're honestly both the brains and the beauty of their respective teams. By teams, I mean her and the mayor. I actually wanted to include Miss Bellum and the other characters in my own version of the Powerpuff Girl characters about 7 years ago now. I even have her outfit commissioned and everything from 2019. But sometimes it doesn't always pan out as planned. I was definitely overthinking her concept and trying to match the other Powerpuff Girl dolls that I've made, but honestly, her power suit and skirt combo is so iconic. Why change something that's already perfect? This time I have a clearer perspective on how to make her doll. Of course, she will have really big hair, exaggerated features and silhouette, and a calm and wise presence. Now let's go ahead and get started with Miss Bellum's transformation. For Miss Bellum's body, she will have a doll hybrid. Mainly, I wanted to give her Villadonna's body since she resembles the cartoon a lot. This is the same body that I used for my Jessica Rabbit doll as well. And yeah, she's really stained. As I said, she's been stashed in her outfit for like 6 years now. And for her head, I've always planned on giving her a Bratz head. I don't know why, but I just feel like it resembles her better, and it also fits the cartoony Villadonna body a lot. The main modification, I guess, is that I will be giving her a made-to-move Barbie arms, as I think she would benefit from having the articulation and daintier hands. So let's start with that. I think in general, she would look really good with the double articulation. I feel like this is way too limiting. She can barely like reach anything because of the 90 degrees articulation. So yeah, let's go ahead and change it up. And of course, because of her hands in general, it is way too cartoony overall with the big hands. So I feel like, yeah, we need to do a daintier approach for Miss Bellum. I found this made to move from my stash, and I think it actually matches Yasmin quite well, so let's go ahead and use her arms. I will be doing this arm replacement technique that I've done on a lot of my dolls now, specifically if they have no articulation. This is the way that I've been doing it, and it works really well because it gives the doll's arms rotation, and it gives it, obviously, the articulation. I just take these hanger bolts in this specific size, and I drill a hole on both arms. Obviously, the Made to Move already has holes, but this is going to be the anchor to connect the upper arm and also the lower arms. For her hands, let's go to our stash and pick out the most glamorous and elegant hands available. I would go for the made-to-move hands, but they're not really glamorous in any way, so we gotta pick something else. I feel like Barbie really needs to change up the made-to-move hands, or like Barbie hands nowadays in general, because they need to be serving something like this. Like, I mean, hello, look at the hand pose, look at the delicate elegance and everything. It's just, it's giving. This is what gives. And of course, compared to the original Villadonna arms, I mean, the articulation is articulating. Now let's go ahead and attach the hanger bolts onto the lower arms, and let's just do our best to kind of not overexert it in there, and then we can now finally attach it to the upper arms. And there we have it. As you can see, it looks really cool. It actually oddly blends pretty well in terms of like how thick Villadonna's arms are in general. So they match Barbie arms quite well, I think. Now let's go ahead and work on her shoes. And this will be sculpted on because it is quite difficult to find a pump, a regular stiletto pump in the size of Villadonna's feet. They do fit Monster High shoes, I believe, but I mean, Monster High doesn't really have a charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent type of stiletto pumps. Like, it's always kind of like a fantasy-esque, and I needed a really sickening, classic stiletto pump. So over here, we're just using Warbler as the sole for her pumps, and this will be the main base, and we're just molding it onto the feet. And then after that, of course, for the heel itself, I will be taking a needle, and we are puncturing that inside of her sole. Of course, to secure it, I am using a 2-part plastic glue to kind of adhere everything in place and make sure it doesn't budge. And then, of course, we will work on it again with our clay. As usual, I will be using Epoxy Sculpt to actually sculpt the shoe on. And of course, with this part, you can have a little bit more finessing. You can have more details if you'd like. But for Miss Bellum, I really want this to be a classic working girl like 80s pump, very Mugler type of vibe, and I really just want this to be very sculptural, very pointy, and very sophisticated, high glam, and very batty at the same time. I mean, to be fair, if she was in the cartoon, it's probably the only thing that you're gonna see the most is her shoes and lower half of her body, so it needs to look good. And this is what we're working so far. As you can see, we have her shoes finally finished. It is fully dried, and of course we have her arm replacements, so now we can finally move on. Now let's go ahead and paint her skin to match Yasmin's head. Initially I was choosing between Sasha or Yasmin, but I feel like Yasmin matches her cartoon skin tone a little bit more. I do have to be careful with painting the skin, as there are areas that you can't really prevent from chipping, and also her assets are hollow, so they can easily crack if you squish them. I did initially stuff them to prevent that from happening as much as possible. Vildana's body is actually quite interesting because inside of her assets is actually a regular, like, chest. And this one is literally kind of like a breastplate, you know, for drag queens. So I do want to stuff this a little bit just with, like, these pom-pom balls, just to kind of prevent it from being squished in the long run. Because, of course, you know, paint will chip if it is overly exhausted from a lot of movement. So hopefully by doing this, it will just give it a little bit more integrity in there. Now let's go ahead and paint her up, and this is a mixture of a multitude of acrylic paints and also Mod Podge, because I feel like Mod Podge will add a little bit of flexibility to the overall paint formula, and I mean, it worked for my Jessica Rabbit, so I'm hoping it works well for Miss Bellum this time around. Of course, I did spray her body with Mr. Super Clear so that it has something to stick to as a primer and also to set everything in place. I just make sure that I work in really thin layers of paint because the thicker it is, the more prone it is to chipping in general and just building the layers way too quickly. So taking it slow and very like having the watery paints is quite beneficial for this step. Oh my god, I love how her skin came out, and I think it matches her head quite well. Speaking of, let's go ahead and start working on her hair. I knew I wanted her to have really big hair to match the cartoon, and finding the perfect curly ginger color was paramount. Of course, let's go ahead and prepare her head first, because we are going to be making a wig, so let's cut all of this hair out from Miss Yasmin's head. This part is always so satisfying. I love doing it, and honestly, the Bratz one is actually quite satisfying because there's a lot of hair in there. Now let's remove her factory paint, might as well, so we can have a clear canvas to work on. And I'm just using my acetone. You may also use nail polish remover if it has acetone in it. For her hair, I will be using this Bohemian Yankee twist in 12 inches, and I am super in love with this color. I believe it is the T8/ginger color, so it is rooted, and I absolutely love that it has the ombre roots in there. I feel like it just adds dimension to the overall hair, and honestly, it would look super good with Miss Bellum. I'm going to cut it, maybe I'll be using maybe like an inch or half an inch of the root, just so that I can have a little bit of a shadowed root in there. I feel like that would look really cool. Now let's go ahead and make wefts out of all of the hair. It was so funny because I went to maybe like 4 to 5 beauty supply stores here in Vegas trying to find the specific ginger hair. It was super difficult finding the right color for some reason. And there was a copper color that was very popular, but the copper was way too dark, I think, for Miss Bella. So this one was like super perfect. Of course, let's put her wig cap on and let's start gluing the hair starting from the bottom behind her. And this is the usual pattern, but it also really depends on the type of hair you're using and also the type of hairstyle you're going for. You know, most of these wigs are permanently styled anyway. I knew that I wanted it to be big, I wanted it to have volume, and I wanted it to have all of the curls be showcased beautifully. It looks super good when it was long, but it was like reaching the doll's like knees or like below the knees, and it was like way too long for Miss Bellum. So I just shaped it and I cut everything, and it looks really cool right now too. I love this shape because it matches the cartoons a little bit better. Oh my god, this hair is so gorgeous, and I can't believe how full and voluminous it is. I think the color is also chef's kiss. Now let's work on Miss Bellum's visage. Miss Sarah Bellum is not only known for her brains, but also her beauty, and this face would need to represent that. Of course, as usual, I sprayed her face with Mr. Super Clear to prime it, and that is also the way to set it. And I'm just taking my watercolor pencils, and I am sketching the initial face for Miss Bellum. Of course, I just want her to look really beautiful, very elegant, very classic, and just like just gorgeous, you know? As you can see, I went for a more classic shape for the eyes. Her makeup is quite neutral, very, very different than what I usually do, which was very, very interesting for me. But I honestly really, really love it. As you can see, she just looks super good, and I'm super, super happy with how she's looking. I mean, you can see it, and it's just really gorgeous. And that is pretty much her face, and I am super blown away with it. I am super obsessed, and I hope you guys like it too. Okay, let's cut the bit and actually show off Miss Bellum's visage. I mean, honestly, I really wanted this entire video to not really show her face because I feel like that was a funny bit. But, of course, for the Bratz head, we have to embrace the mold. We can't really deter too much away from the Bratz formula. So over here, we are giving her my take on a Bratz face. I feel like it's been so long since I've repainted a Bratz face, and I honestly don't remember, but I really miss it so much because it is so satisfying having this amount of space to draw on, to work with, and you can really make the eyes super detailed, which I love. Even though we did get a really, really small shot of Miss Bellum's actual face in the show, I mean, it's really not enough to really go off on, so all of this is just my own artistic interpretation of how I imagined Miss Bellum to look like. But I initially really feel like she would be very, very glamorous in the office. She would have beautiful makeup. I mean, of course, she has red lips, that's given, but just overall, I feel like she would be glammed up. I've always found it interesting how in the 90s, there were a lot of characters in cartoons and even in anime that would be hidden a lot. I feel like for Miss Bellum, it was very comedic because they would just find ways to hide her face in, I mean, very creative ways sometimes. Like, they would have flour in front of her, or like the point of views would be interesting. But a lot of the animes too, they would have a lot of like the villains would be kind of hidden like that. So I just thought it was kind of funny. I know like Cow and Chicken's parents were always hidden. Or I think they were just literally cut up in half or something like that. It was something like that. I don't know. But hey, I feel like it made the 90s cartoons the 90s. I ended up giving her green and also brown eye colors. And of course, let's go ahead and give her some eye shines or some catch lights. In Asia and in the Philippines specifically, if you have a beauty mark on top of your eyebrows, it means that you are really smart. And I thought, hey, she is Sarah Bellum, of course, so let's go ahead and give her a beauty mark up there. And of course, it's giving vintage glamour, so hey. Now let's go ahead and give her some lashes. Initially, I wanted to glue on individual fake lashes for her, but it was creating too much shadow. And of course, with her big hair, I feel like it was going to be too much shadow in her face in general, and it may look too heavy. So I ended up going for drawn-on lashes this time. Oh my god, I am so obsessed with her face, and I think she encapsulates Miss Bellum super well. Even though we've only have a glimpse of her face in the show, I think it's quite amazing that we can all have a bit of freedom with our imagination of how she would have looked. While we're here, let's go ahead and do some body blushing and contouring just to give her skin some dimension. I just feel like adding a little bit of color to her skin will add a lot of dimension to it, like in the long run, and it just wouldn't look super flat. And of course, I just blush up the knees, I blush up the foot area, and I also blush up, of course, her décolletage. And I contour it too. And we can't forget about her hands. Her hands also needs to be blushed up, because why not? And voila, I feel like it just adds to the overall skin detail for Miss Bellum. Honestly, this body, oh my god, Miss Belladonna is serving super, super well. I think it's because of the arms, but she looks so good. Let's work on giving her some manicure. Of course, we are opting for red for Miss Bellum because I feel like that's apropos. Now let's move on to her power suit. From the start, I wanted her to have a Mugler and Pierre Cardin vibe with her main silhouette. And I knew that I needed to give her exaggerated shoulders to really give that 1980s power suit look and to balance the doll's overall figure. I feel like she has a lot of this going on, she has this going on. I feel like this will need to kind of like balance everything out. And I want to say a huge thank you to Deluxe Designs for crafting this outfit years ago. It's so amazing that she was able to create this for a very cartoony doll body. I, of course, have to do my 1-2 to update the look for Miss Bellum. It's kind of interesting how how dolls are made because they are literally made out of different materials. Like each doll, even Barbies, are all different materials. Like some of these are stained, some of them are not. Like it's just kind of crazy. Like the arms and the legs, it seems to be the same material. The joints and also the stomach area seems to be the same material. I don't know what's going on, but she has stained the house down boots. Initially, I wanted to give her gloves, but I did feel like it was taking away from Miss Bellum a little bit too much, and it was kind of giving villainous territory. So for this one, I'm just extending her sleeves into kind of like a glove silhouette, but it's going to be an extension of her sleeves. I also wanted to update her skirt area, so I created this one, and I don't know what to call it, but it's just going to be like a panel of fabric, and it will just create a little bit more shape and interest to the overall silhouette. Now let's go ahead and give her some lapels, because it is going to be kind of like a suit. So for this one, I wanted to give her the shawl lapel shape. I initially wanted to give her like spiked lapel, but I feel like, again, that was gonna be too much for Miss Bellum. I mean, it was giving mojo territory. I mean, I loved it, but you know, I was trying to reel it back for Miss Bellum. And just to create some textile difference, I did make her shawl lapel a different fabric. I mean, I just reversed the patent leather fabric so that it's more matte red. And I loved that the black underneath, the black leather, is kind of peeking through. Oh my god, I need this in real life. I love the patent leather fabric, and I love that I opted out the glove look for her because I feel like this really kept the original essence for Miss Bellum, and it closely resembles the original look. It's very classic, iconic, and very Sarah Bellum. Now let's go ahead and paint her shoes to match her new ensemble. I mean, of course, we have to give her red patent leather shoes. Is that surprising? No. Is it groundbreaking? No. Is it classic and elegant and sophisticated? Yes. And of course, she will have the red bottoms, because, hey. And of course, so she can reach the girls, I wanted to make her the Powerpuff Girl hotline. And I want to say a huge thank you to Taylor Monster Kid for creating this for me. It is absolutely perfect for her, and I love how detailed the model was. Let's go ahead and paint it. And I did 3D print this, and of course, you know, there's the joys and the sorrows of 3D printing, but I wish I was able to have this phone when I was making the other Powerpuff Girls, because I feel like it would have been really, really cute to have them interact with the phone. But alas, we have it for Miss Sarah Bellum, and I feel like it's perfect for her. And I really had fun painting the details in there, and yeah, it was really, really, really cute. Cutesy bootsy. Do you guys have a favorite Sarah Bellum moment? I mean, I feel like every time she's on screen, she just takes my breath away in the best way possible. Like the way she talks, just her overall presence. I remember being so obsessed with her growing up. I mean, obviously, I feel like all of us were so curious on how she looked. To me, I was just like, oh my god, she is just so beautiful. I mean, to be fair, I hyper-fixate on anything really, really feminine, and I feel like that was Miss Sarah Bellum for me. Her, Sedusa, a lot of the ladies of the Powerpuff Girls was just really, really, like, just so good, you know? I mean, her and Sedusa's episode, I feel like, is my most favorite of them all. But also her switching with Blossom was kind of funny. Just seeing her with Blossom's attire and them trying to hide her face while she's also fighting is so funny. I'm obsessed. It's quite difficult finding a spiral cord in this doll size, so I'll be using this red wire, and I wrap it around a toothpick, and this will be the spiral cord for the phone. I did gloss up the phone with UV gloss, and it just looks super, super satisfying how glossy everything is. So let's go ahead and attach the cord, and we are finally done with the Powerpuff Girl hotline. Oh my god, this looks super cute, and the girls better be on standby because the mayor will be dialing them up oh so frequently. Now let's put Miss Sarah Bellum together. One of my most favorite parts with doll making is putting everything together. I feel like it's just kind of like building the puzzle and assembling it finally, because often you work on dolls one by one, piece by piece, part by part, and you don't really get to see it all at once until the very end, because sometimes you have to remove things, especially for when you're filming. Like, everything needs to be worked on very, very individually, I guess. So seeing it all together is so satisfying. And again, make sure you guys check out Moonlight Jewels' Blossom doll as well. She is giving all the cute Blossom vibe, very Y2K, very preppy. I'm very obsessed. And now we're done with Miss Sarah Bellum.